Right, so the goal of today's paint mixing session is to get this into a better gradient. I think I have this, my yellow got a little green here. The purple's probably okay. The blue could use a little bit of adjustment in the darks. So ultimately what I'm trying to do here is get this color within this gamut range here, which is explained in this James Gurney color and light book, which is a dope book. You should definitely pick it up if you're into painting. But I'm basically trying to get, so here's his color wheel, which uses yellow, blue, and red, and also this and green, as well as cyan, magenta, and yellow. So it uses CMY and RGB, which is pretty awesome. And then I got this cutout because I'm only going to be working with colors inside this triangle. And then I put it over and I kind of lined it up because I wanted some yellow, I wanted a little bit of purple. So what I ended up getting was this sort of thing here, which is like yellow, and then this blue color, and then this purple color here. And then I'm going to use each corner of the triangle as my primaries, which I've done here. We got the blue, the purple, and the yellow. But what I want to do is refine some of these. Like this looks a little green. I think it should go a little bit more yellow in this respect, which maybe needs a little bit more red. So I bought, all of these colors for various purposes. So we got cadmium red medium, cadmium yellow medium, which is going to be nice. Cadmium yellow light, which is down there. But we also have some ivory black, which is going to be nice to move some of these bluer tones darker, so we can mix up the dark values and make a gradation. Quinacridone red, which is an amazing color. That's going to help us move, mix up some of these magenta colors. Burnt sienna, which is going to be good for moving redder colors to the dark without making them go too blue with like a ivory black or something. And then this is burnt umber, which we're going to use to move the red tones darker. Titanium white, and Indian yellow, which is insanely good for making darker values yellow without adding too much white. It's a really transparent color. It's amazing. Prussian blue, which is very intense blue. Mix a little bit of it with white. It's really staining. Awesome color. Then we got quinacridone magenta, which is fucking amazing. Awesome color. And then viridian, which is that blue-green color, which is going to be really nice. But really, what I'm trying to do here, this is a bit green here, bit on the green side. So I want to add a little bit of Indian yellow to it. Because all I'm trying to do is make a darker version of this yellow up here. I don't want to go make it a darker version of green, which is a very subtle difference, So we're going with a little bit more Indian yellow in this mixture, which I'm thinking will help. It's getting a little bit more yellow. It's still got some green in it, so I'm going to add a little bit of quinacridone red. Oh, a little oily there. I don't know how staining this color is, so I'm just going to be careful with it. And if your dark yellow color is going too green, you can always neutralize it with some red. and it'll bring it back to that yellow color, which seems counterintuitive because you're like, oh, it's going to be a red, but it actually brings it back into the yellow family as opposed to the green family. Wow, look at that. That's gonna be nice. This is more like dark yellow now. Before it was really green. This feels more, wow, yeah. This feels in this family. So this quinacridone red is really helping me get in the yellow family for this dark color. Because the goal of this is to have your primary colors, my yellow and my I don't know what this color is, magenta violet, and then my blue green, and then have darker versions and then have a gradation out. So you make a dark version of this yellow and then it gradates out even more. So you have a dark version of middle. Well, he recommends to mix way more values than this, but I always just like kind of mix them as I go. So as long as I have a dark middle and a light of each color, I'm set. So this also looks a little green to me. So I'm gonna go in there with a little bit of the quinacridone red again. Just a little bit, because this color is pretty powerful. And we're gonna mix it in so we can get rid of that green tinge to the yellow color. It's really gonna help us. I also left a little bit of color on my palette knife here from the previous color. All right, there we go. That looks like a nice medium yellow. Because the thing about, you know, making strings like this is like the second you add white to it, which is what I did here to get this brighter color, it cools the color, you know. So it goes a little bit more towards the blue, which makes it green, and then you want to push it back into the red, which will push it back into the yellow. Which now, look at that. That's almost like a yellow ochre, which is beautiful. That's exactly what I was looking for. It's like a middle version of this. So sweet. The quinacridone red is great for shifting yellows from green to more yellow. Might even go a little bit more quinacridone red. Wow, I don't usually buy this quinacridone red. This is a fucking sick color for doing stuff like this. This is awesome. All right, cool. There we go. Look at that. We almost mixed a yellow ochre. We probably could have just used yellow ochre, but that is what I say would be a middle version of this yellow color. So now we're getting a nice step down. This yellow color over here is still pretty good. It's pretty bright. This does seem like a brighter version of that, which is good. So I'm going to leave that, but now this feels way more yellow and beautiful. And then we're going to mix some of these more purple colors, which this seems pretty accurate. Let's go with this. We'll mix a little bit more of this because I'm going to need more of it. So I'm going to go with Prussian blue and quinacridone magenta, probably, I would say. Quinacridone magenta. Let's mix this up. This is probably going to give us a really nice purple. All we're trying to do is make a darker version of this without moving too far into the blue or too far into the red. We want to keep it in this family of, and that blue was really powerful, so I'm going to go a little bit more quinacridone magenta and push it back into the purple. Yeah, that seems really nice. That seems like a nice dark version of that purple. Sweet. Let's go with that. You can tell, like, when you scrape away, you can see like the blurred edges of the scrape away. If it kind of matches your color up here, you're kind of good. You can also mix it with a little bit of white, just to see what color it actually is. That helps too. All right, and then this purple looks pretty good. Looks like I got quite a bit of that still left. But let's mix this blue, which I'm gonna go with the Prussian blue. It's a lot of Prussian blue. And then, you know, what's a good color for this is Viridian. Viridian's gonna help us out with this. So we can get that blue-green. We're just going for a darker color of this blue here. That looks like it has a little bit too much green in it. Maybe not. This one's gonna be a little bit more difficult to judge, to make sure it's a darker version of this blue. So I'm gonna come in with some titanium white. Let's see, we got our titanium white here. There we go. A little bit of that on the palette. And I'm gonna put a little dot of titanium white over here, and then I'm gonna grab some of this, and then I'm gonna mix it together. And wow, that is pretty damn close. Cool. I would say that is a darker version of that. Maybe it needs a little bit of more green in it, but we can just add a little bit more Viridian. Mix that up a little bit. This is probably going to take us right into that dark realm, the darker version of that color, which is going to be perfect. Right. Now let's grab some of that titanium white again, and a little bit of this on the finger. Mix it up. That feels fucking perfect. Sick. That looks almost exactly like that when you mix it with a little bit of a white. So that is a darker version of that, which is perfect. And then we have the medium version, which is almost basically this. I can almost use this as the middle version. I didn't even really need to mix this. And then we got the light version. Amazing. Now, what I'm gonna do is mix the secondary colors, because let me bring back the book. So when you do the layover, which is basically this, maybe a little bit more down here because we got that blue and magenta, and then the yellow. When you do this, now these are the secondary colors, which are basically these two corners mixed together to get that, and then these two corners mixed together to get that. So I want to mix the secondary colors, so I have those as well to use. And then the idea is that all the stuff in this triangle is the only possible mixture combinations that you can do with this palette. So the idea is to stay in there to keep color harmony or whatever, you know. And this is all just like new for me because I just read this book and I'm just trying to test it out in a practical scenario on a painting that I'm gonna do. So I'm just getting everything prepared and mixed up. I'm gonna take my primary, which is the yellow. Primary for this color scheme, I mean, it is a primary color, but you know what I mean. And then I'm gonna take some purple, and then I'm gonna mix them together and recreate this orange color that I had over here. Pretty wild that the purple and the yellow, which you would think as opposite colors, would make you know, a neutral color, but we have this nice, beautiful orange color that it's making, which is awesome. So we got the yellow and the purple mixed together, give us our nice middle color, which I use this color for flesh tones when I'm doing portraits and stuff. At least that's what I did last night. So it's nice to have this color. Really nice to have an orange color. Good for cheeks too. Make it, put a little bit more of the purple in it to make it a little bit more red. Put a little bit more red in it because there is some red in the purple. Now we have our secondary color, which is like this orange. And then we have another secondary color that we can use to mix, and we mix the yellow and the blue together, which is where this color came from as well. A little bit of white in it, and I added a little bit of purple in it to just neutralize it a little bit and calm it down. This is not anything down here. I was trying to mix like a darker version of this orangey yellow, but it didn't really work out. But I'm still gonna try it. Because ideally, let's get rid of this. All right, so ideally, you'd have like a darker version of this green as well, which I can basically mix with this yellow and this blue. You know, we can mix that darker version of green, and then we'd want a darker version of this, which is basically this color and this color mixed together. So let's just do that. Going over here, I'm grabbing some of this purple. And again, it's getting a little bit green on us. Let's see, with the titanium white mixed in with it. It's kind of a neutral color, which is good. So we're just gonna go with that for the darker version of this yellow-orange up here, of this orange color. Let's do a little test here. I want to see what this purple goes to when it gets a little white in it. Just as I suspected, we need a little bit more red in that color. So this mixture is a little bit off because we need a little bit more red in that color. So we're gonna go quinacridone red, go crazy with it. Which is probably why it mixed like a neutral color, because we're going more towards purple here, and then the yellow neutralizes it. All right, let's see what that looks like mixed with white now. And I suspect it's going to be perfect. See how it's a little bit more red now? Now I think we're getting into the realm of that magenta up there. But we can also test that out by mixing that with a little bit of white as well. And wow, you can see there's so much more red in it. So let's go. I thought I added too much quinacridone, but that's not the case at all. Let's add a little bit more. Wow, I wish I would have mixed these colors a little bit more accurately when I did the painting yesterday too. This would have been very helpful. But I didn't have the right colors, so. All right, now let's go wipe the finger off there, and let's look at this color. mixed with white now. Now that is getting way closer. I would argue that's a darker color of that, a little bit more neutralized. So let's go with that. And because I mixed that, now I feel like I need to update this color right down here by grabbing some of this and then putting it in there. I feel like that will help. Introduce a little bit more red into this color with some quinacridone red. Should have got another tube of this. Should have got another tube. This color is great. And then we're going to put a little bit of titanium white. Cool it down a bit and brighten it up. All right. Now that is nice. So sweet. And then we got a light version of that, which I'm probably gonna mix more of because I you know, did a lot with that color. So we're gonna need more of that. Scrape off any of the dirty colors that I mixed here around it, because I still want to use the pure color that I mixed, but don't want any of these other colors in here influencing it. All right, grab some titanium white. I want a big wad of this. So, and I'm gonna grab some of this color here and mix it in. We're gonna get a beautiful, like magenta, really high key magenta. That's gonna be really nice for mixing with the yellow to get the flesh tones. Really nice. Might even add a little bit more of this color into it. Keep in mind whenever you're mixing white into a paint, it's going to cool it down. So there may be times when you mix the white in and then you have to reintroduce some red or yellow to warm it back up. This is actually pretty good. You can see that feels more like a step gradation. This feels more like a step gradation. This feels more yellow to me than it did before. It was very green. Now we got a nice step. And then I'm gonna remix this color down here. We'll get this off the palette. Now that this was too neutral, probably would have worked, but I'm gonna grab some of this yellow and some of this magenta and mix them together. And now we got the color we're looking for. It's like a darker version of that, which is beautiful. We add a little bit more of the yellow into it to give it that move it even more towards the dark yellow. A little bit more magenta to get a little bit more red in it. Beautiful. Now we have like a little bit of a darker version of because I mixed these two together to get the orange, and now I have mixed these two darker colors to get this color. That's going to be really nice and helpful. And then one last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remix this yellow. Oops. Too much shit on there. I'm going to, get rid of all this excess garbage around here. And then I'm gonna mix grab some titanium white. Grab some of this ochre color, mix it in with the titanium white. You see how it got a little cool on me? So I want to add a little bit more cad yellow. Move it back towards the yellow. And then I want to put a little bit of quinacridone because it's getting a little bit greeny. See how it goes back to more of like a pure yellow. We're going to add a little bit more cadmium. And then, you know, during the process of the painting, I'll mix these colors with a little bit more white to get some of the more higher key values that I want. A little bit more titanium white. Move it up a little higher into the key, a little bit more high key. All right. Now, I would say this is a great gamut mix for somebody who's just learning this. I think I did pretty well here. So I got my three primaries: my yellow, my red magenta. Red magenta, purple. I got my blue green over here, and then I got my value steps for the blue green. I got my value steps for the magenta. I got my value steps for the cad yellow. And then I got a secondary color up here, which is basically the yellow and the purple mixed together. And then I got a secondary color, which is the yellow and the blue mixed together. Gives me this green. And then I wanted to make a darker version of this yellow. So that's this. And then I could also go even one more step further if I had a little bit more room and make a darker version of this green, which would be this yellow and this blue mixed together, which I could put over here, which would give me like a nice dark green, which is helpful for certain scenarios. But yeah, this is great. Like these two mixed together, I was mixing it over here on a portrait I was doing last night. It gives me a beautiful flesh tone. And then you can just use the yellow for like the warm highlights and the purple for the cooler highlights, and then even the blue for like even more cooler highlights. But yeah, this is a great palette. And then I'll keep titanium white on my palette somewhere to then mix a little bit higher key stuff. But yeah, maybe in my next video I'll do a painting with this palette. I did one last night that I can show you. This one right here was done with this palette. You can see all those magentas and blues and then the yellows in her face. I think it gave it a nice beautiful harmony, and it's really nice. And that was with the more greener yellow tones too. So this is even more harmonized than before. So I'm excited to paint with this palette.